Good morning, folks. It's Monday, October 3rd, and again, I appreciate everybody's questions. We had two very good questions this week that I'd like to jump right into. And just as a reminder, if you guys remember, please jump on the website, go to the Superintendent section, and if you've got questions, they certainly provide a great level of guidance for us in working towards your needs moving forward. So please do that if you can. The first question that I had this week was, has the county considered allowing more recess time for elementary school students? And so with that question, it was certainly one that we dove into this week and took a look. I'm certainly a fan of more recess as it is right now. It's a 30-minute recess at our elementary schools. Just a few years ago, there was a House Bill 1419 and Senate Bill 273 that had passed that allowed for up to 15% of the required 5.5 hours of instructional time to be used towards recess. So what that means in short is that we could, given our instructional day and the amount of time that we allow for instruction, we could allow for up to a 50-minute recess given that regulation. Now, with that said, there's certainly other things that are competing for that time. There's other bills that that also talk about the need and the desire to have instructional hours dedicated to English, math, science, and social studies on the elementary level as well. So with all that said, what it looks like is we could offer up to a 50-minute recess given the amount of instructional time we had. So it's certainly a conversation that I'll have with our elementary school principals. They run and operate the master schedule in that building, in their particular school building. But it is a conversation we'll have as a division to see if it's something that fits into our master schedule and is something that we can afford to do moving forward. I think we all value that time. We understand the importance of it. There's many studies out there that talk about the need for physical activity and the benefits and values of it. So it's certainly a conversation we'll have moving forward, and I appreciate the question. The next question I had was really, it came from a couple of folks, and it's asking about what the county plans to do with the money, the grant money that we've received for COVID. It's termed Esser Funds, and if anyone caught the school board meeting last Monday, there was a discussion and a presentation by Ms. Harris on the use of Esser Funds. I'll go over some of that very quickly and get you up to speed. So Esser money, some people call it CARES funds. It came in 3 allotments. Esser Funds 1 were available to be spent from 2020 to September 30th, 2022. So we just finished spending the Esser 1 funds. And in the Esser 1 funds, that was at the beginning of COVID. That's really when we were trying to appreciate how to react to all of the many challenges COVID presented. So with Esser 1 funds, we were looking at things like how to employ remote instruction. We were using hotspots. We were talking about filtration systems, Chromebooks for students, other technology needs that afforded us the ability to do virtual learning. All of those things came through Esser 1 funds. And then there was also this increased demand, if you remember, for PPE and things of that nature so that we could operate schools as best we could in a virtual environment, in a hybrid environment, and everything else. SR2 funds. SR2 funds are available to be used from March 13th, 2020 to September 30th, 2023. So we really have one more year to be able to use SR2 funds. The way I think of SR2 funds is as we've found ourselves in this new world of post-COVID, we're trying to figure out ways to make up learning loss, to address what is most sincerely considered across our country, a teacher shortage, and really prepare ourselves for any potential for virtual instruction moving forward, learning from the lessons that we learned through COVID and make sure that we buttress ourselves so that we would be prepared. God forbid we ever find ourselves in a worldwide pandemic again, but with the lessons learned, what can we employ so that we're prepared if we ever found ourselves in that situation again? So SR2 funds, again, technology expenses. We had some personnel expenses there because we had a lot of folks, nurses, teachers, custodians, bus drivers, everybody working extra hours. So there were some personnel funds. Sanitation supplies was also, again, a big expense in SR2 funds because we were back in the school buildings. We were cleaning the school buildings extensively on a daily basis. So that became a very high need. Some technology needs were still there, and also some ventilation replacement needs were part of those funds. Which brings me finally to SR3. SR3 is available to be spent March 13th, 2020 to September 2024. So we really almost have 2 more years. And this is where we are with this money right now. There's about $2 million left in this account, give or take. And what this is strictly geared towards moving forward. So again, I think the 2 greatest challenges in public education right now are figuring out where our students are, making up that learning loss that we experienced through COVID, and figuring out what direction we need to take them in. That's challenge number 1. The second challenge is certainly one that doesn't take a second seat, is just as important. We have, as I mentioned a moment ago, a real need for teachers. There's a teacher shortage right now. It's a challenging profession. So those 2 needs right now are the greatest needs I think we have in public education. So we're certainly going to take a look moving forward on how to spend that money to satisfy those needs. Looking into what it requires, what that grant requires, 20% of those funds have to be spent towards learning loss. We actually have about 31% of those funds allocated right now towards that need. So we've met that threshold. There's some other areas that we think we need to focus on. Our strategic plan, which is available on our website. If you take a look at that, this was a group effort. It involved community members, it involved teachers, administrators, everyone that's really an intimate stakeholder in the school division took part in this, the creation of this plan. If you take a look at that, you'll see really a roadmap of how we need to move forward to improve all of the many services we offer in our school division. So that will certainly be a guide that we use moving forward to satisfy the things in the Esser Funds. So SR3, again, about $2 million left. We're taking a look at learning loss for students, figuring out how we can satisfy the shortage we're having as far as teachers are concerned, and then leaning heavily on our strategic plan, which involves things like literacy, which involves things like work-based learning opportunities for our students. All of those things will be primary considerations moving forward with the SR3 funds. So those were the 2 questions I had this week. They're wonderful questions. I hope that the questions continue to come. I appreciate you guys engaging with this process. It's really helpful for us, as I've mentioned a number of times before. I hope everybody has a great week. We really have about 1 more week before report cards come out. So keep in mind that you want to continue to have that dialogue with your children and take a look at those grades, whether it's through Power School or it's a report card that comes home. It's really an opportunity to sit down and talk to your student about how they're doing in school. So thank you again, and we'll see you guys next week.